talk about in this episode is the system. I hear people talk about the system in America, the system. What is the system? When people say the system, what are they talking about? What does that mean? Is that politics? Is that business? Is that the different communities? When people say the system in America, what are they talking about? That's the first thing. Like when I think of the American system and the processes of America, how we have it, because one thing about it is, if you leave America, one thing you're gonna learn real fast is that we ain't far ahead like we like to act like we are. We not far ahead at all. It's a lot of stuff we way behind in America. We like technology. We light years behind a lot of countries like Japan, China, Singapore. They so far ahead of us, it's ridiculous. So technology, we ain't leading. Educational wise, we one of the least educated, industrialized countries on this planet. Healthcare, we have the best healthcare system, but our population is one of the unhealthiest populations on this planet. See what I'm saying? That's the hypocrisy of this American system. It's so crazy. What we think the American system is and what the American system may be, I don't even think those are the same thing. Like, let me tell you what people say the American system is. You know, they talk about freedom and we got these freedoms. Ain't no freedoms in America. Ain't no freedoms here. Who told y'all that? What freedom you think you got in America? Because you don't have it. Freedom of speech. Okay, freedom of speech. Think you got freedom of speech if you want to. Say the wrong thing about the wrong group of people and see what happened to you. Thinking you out here thinking you got freedom of speech. Go on TV and say something about Jews and see what happened. Do that. Go on TV and dog out the LGBT plus community and see what happened to you. Ain't no freedom of speech. See, but in America, that's the thing about it. Y'all fight about these freedoms you think you have. You plant your flag. We free. I can do this. You can't do nothing. You keep believing that you want to. See, that's one of the biggest lies in the American system is that you don't have none of the stuff you think you have. That's the big magic trick they done pulled on us. You out here thinking you got something. You really don't have nothing. You ain't got your own. You don't even got a house. If you buy your house and you paying your mortgage and you banging out this mortgage every month, you ain't missed no payments or nothing. You ain't even behind on the taxes. But the government decide that they need that land that your house on. It's this thing called eminent domain. They'll come snatch your damn house right from up under you. And legally, they can pay you what they feel like your house is worth. That's how not free you are in America. Don't talk to me about no freedoms that you think you have in America. You ain't got no freedoms here. See that's so when we talk about what the American system is, well, the system is a lie. That's what the system is.
The American the job losing to China, Mexico, and this. I think 30 years ago, when I just graduated from universities, I heard America had a wonderful strategy. They outsource the manufacturing job, service jobs. They outsource the manufacturing to Mexico and China, outsource the service job to India. Past the 30 years, the American had 13 wars, spending $14.2 trillion. The money going there. What if they spend a part of that money on building up the infrastructure, helping the white collars and blue collars? No matter how strategy good it is, you're supposed to spend money on your own people.
The system is predicated upon a big ass lie. They lie to you to make you think that you have something you don't really have. And then the thing that you really do have, Americans won't even use it. See, let me tell you. The thing that you have, what they done told you, is like you got a right to vote, you got a voice in the community and all this stuff right here. You actually do have those things. See, part of the problem in the American system is we don't participate in the system. Everybody, black people, white people, poor, is mostly the poor. The people who need all of this stuff the most are the ones who don't participate in it the most. And that's because we use the excuse, man, voting ain't gonna help me. And that's what they depend on. That's what they depend on. They depend on you not taking your goofy ass down there to vote. But it ain't just voting. See, that's another thing about the system. A lot of us complain about the system. We don't even know the system for real. That's the thing about it. Like watching people that's watching right now. Who's your city councilman? Who's the state representative for your area? I bet you don't even know that. When the last time, keep it 100, to ask yourself, when the last time you went to a city council meeting? You ain't never been to no damn city council meeting. I know you had. When the last time you sat in on the general assembly when they allow you to come in and listen to Congress debate? When the last time? You ain't never did that. A lot of y'all think politics is boring and all that, and I get it. It can be boring, but these people are changing your life. These people make a decision. Let me tell you, the level of the system that you don't pay attention to the most is the one that affect you the most. That's why I say we talk about the system, but the system, one, is a flawed system, but two, you ain't doing the part that you do have control of, you ain't doing it. Let me tell you this story. So in my neighborhood, like right outside my subdivision, it was this big 18-wheeler that was parking on the grass. And so I was like, yo, why is this big ass 18-wheeler parking on the grass? And of course, every day he was parking there, he was like, yo, everybody know. He was like, yo, this ain't no good stuff to do. So I'm like, yo, so now I turned to the black Karen. I was like, yo, this truck is parked on this grass. What y'all gonna do about this? So they was like, yo, your area is zone rule. So it ain't illegal or wrong for him to park on this grass. But you ain't the first person to call. So that was like on a Monday or Tuesday. Well, that same week, they was having a city council meeting. A bunch of people showed up at the city council meeting to complain about that truck being parked on the grass. That same evening, they passed a city ordinance that made it illegal for 18-wheelers to park on the grass. 2 days later, I saw police out there giving him a ticket, making him move that truck. That's what I mean. Your local government affects your life like this immediately today. Something that this goofy orange president do, this might not affect your life for months, but this happens immediately on the local level. But we don't know none of that. We don't. When last time you went to a board of education meeting in your area? When last time you did that? I know you ain't never did. You don't even know who sit on your board of education. And I'm not knocking you because I ain't never been to a board of education meeting. I've been to a city council meeting before, but I've never been to a board of education meeting. But I actually sat on the local school level board of education, the board of directors for the school. See what I'm saying? So I try to do what I can. And again, the podcast is Humans are Trash because we are hypocrites. So I fall short too because I should have been to a damn board of education meeting, but I hadn't. See, and this is the problem. We complain about these things, but we not doing nothing at them. You can't say that you don't have a good educational system in your area when you ain't there telling them what you need. And some of y'all excuses, they know what we need over here. Do they? Do they? If I got an area that encompasses 5 high schools, 200,000 people, and that's possible in Atlanta to be a state representative with an area that covers that many high schools, if not more. So I got 5 high schools. Every time I come to this meeting, people from 2 of the high schools are here. Nobody ever shows up to 3 of these high schools. Who you think I'm listening to? Who you think I'm a direct resources to? I'm gonna direct them to the people that's showing up to these damn meetings. Because I know what they want. I can assume what you need at the 3 schools that ain't showing up, but I know what they need because they hear in my face every week. They here telling me, yo, we need books. Yo, my teachers need this. Our students don't have this. So when I get $50,000 that needs to be spent on education, I'm going to give them the bulk of it because I know what they need. I'm going to give you what I think. I'm going to give you a couple of dollars. I know you need some. I don't know what you need, but I'm going to give you some because I know you need some. That's how this starts to happen. That's how you not participating in the system like you supposed to. And then the thing about voting is, let me tell you how we do with the voting. And we're notorious for doing this in America. Not just black people, white people do it too. We'll elect somebody and put them in office, but then you never go check to make sure that they doing what they said they gonna do. You just elect them, and then when you don't get the stuff you think you're supposed to got while they been in office, man, you ain't did nothing for us. Did you come to the meeting and tell me what you needed? Did you come to, I give you another example, how going to the meetings and talking to these people work. Sidewalk in our neighborhood was crumbling. Lady across the street, she constantly complained about it. That she wrote letters, she did everything, and whatever. So the sidewalk was breaking in like 2-3 areas on the sidewalk that go through the subdivision. She was complaining. Nobody else was complaining. Guess whose sidewalk got fixed first? Her sidewalk. They came out there and they did her sidewalk because she wrote the letters. She sent the emails. She made the phone calls. It ain't no complicated ass process. It is the squeaky wheel gets the oil. It just is what it is. But that's the way you can participate in the system. But we don't do that. In America, we a bunch of complainers, but we ain't a bunch of doers. That's part of the problem. We'll complain. We'll talk you to damn death. But we ain't gonna do nothing for real. But then let a politician, like look at Korea. South Korea, that president, he called himself on some Trump-ish. You see what the people did to him?
Tonight, dramatic scenes of chaos in South Korea, one of America's key allies. Protesters scuffled with police outside the National Assembly building. Some windows shattered and helicopters flying overhead. After President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law aimed at stopping what he called North Korean anti-state forces in the government. Only hours later being forced to revoke it when opposition lawmakers held an emergency vote to defy the president and scrap martial law, some of them scaling fences to get back inside for it. Outside the parliament, protesters pushing against armored vehicles, while inside, furniture piled high to keep soldiers out.
They rolled up on his house. Millions of people rolled up on his house. Made this dude have to leave his house and go into hiding. Weeks later, they impeached his ass and got him out of office. That's what they do in other countries. We ain't gonna do that in America because we soft. We some talkers, we ain't no doers. You know, when we do stuff when it comes to promoting this toxic ass culture that we have in America. Not in black communities, white communities, just period. America is like, one of the things I hear people say all the time is, well, you know, in America, they don't understand nothing but violence. You're right. That's part, when we talk about the system, part of the system in American culture is violence. It's ingrained in us. It ain't just black people, it ain't just white people. It's American culture to be violent. We love violent movies and violent TV shows and violent stuff more than any other country on this planet. So that's part of our culture. That's one of the reasons why our murder rate is higher than anywhere else, because that's what we teach. We teach everybody.
After one child died using a Peloton treadmill last year, the Consumer Product Safety Commission intervened and recalled the product. But when hundreds of children die using guns, there is no federal response. There is no federal safety standard for guns. Even though 40,000 Americans hurt or kill themselves or other people in hundreds of accidents every year. Instead of regulating guns like any other consumer product, federal law protects gun manufacturers. A teenager can watch a video online and learn how to modify a rifle to make it more deadly. And the gun industry avoids any liability if that teenager uses that modified rifle to fire repeatedly and rapidly at innocent people. If a pharmaceutical company failed to warn customers about the known risks of one of their drugs, they could face thousands of lawsuits. But we allow the gun industry to sell weapons without taking any precautions.
Yo, you get disrespected, you take his life. That's what you do. He touched your truck, you take his life. He look at you wrong, you take his life. You pull out your gun and you use your gun. That's what we do in America. We are an ultra violent community in America. We are an ultra violent society. We don't teach de-escalation in America. That's not the American way. We teach you to turn up. Look at the comments on any video with somebody having an argument. The first thing people promoting is action. Nobody say, hey man, somebody should walk away. That's not what people say in the comments. The people want them to go at it in the comments. If it was me, I would've. If it was my child, I would've. That's what we do in America. So we talk about the system. That's part of the system too, the violence of it. The lack of empathy and compassion for our fellow man. That's what America is about. America don't care about nobody. So when we talk about the system, these are all what makes up the system. And it ain't just started, it's historically been that way. It started that way damn near from day one. Ship landed in America. A group of people came to help the people who landed, and they repaid them by taking their land and unaliving them.
Columbus sets sail with the other two ships. They head back to Spain. When he gets to Sevilla, as he's getting to Sevilla, he knows it's going to take him a while to unload the ships and get everything in order and start preparing for the next journey, hopefully. So he decides to write a letter to Isabella to send it ahead so that she can read the letter. She'll have basically been debriefed before he arrives. The Taino, the Native Americans on Haiti, were the kindest, most gentle people I had ever met. Their generosity was not exceeded by any people I've ever encountered. They shared their food, their shelter, they even shared their women. A few men with swords could make slaves of them all.
That's how they repaid them. So this country was birthed from violence. The whole system is violence is ingrained. You know, in your body, you got veins and you got arteries. You can't live without either one of them. America is predicated upon violence. I don't even know if we could operate. I don't even think we mentally are stable enough to operate in America without our violence. If you eliminated all of the violent video games and the violent movies and all that stuff right there, I think people lose their mind. But they would lose their mind, because there ain't no way in the hell what you getting ready to do to me is take away my damn John Wick. That's what you're not gonna do. It's crazy to me. And then another thing, one of the things, like if you travel a lot, one of the phrases that you hear on a regular basis is "you arrogant Americans." You hear that a lot. You see it in movies and stuff like that. And let me tell you where that phrase comes from. It's because Americans have this swagger as if there's no other way to do things except the way we do it in America. There's no better way to do it than how we do it. That's not true. There's a bunch of people, again, who do it way better than we do it. I just was talking about violence. Let me tell you one of the ways you know that other countries clearly do certain things better than us. No other country has the mass, has school pow-pows the way we have them. No other country has them at the level that we have. You know why? Because they do things differently, and violence is not a part of their culture. So clearly they doing something we ain't doing. Other countries don't have a drug problem the way we do. So clearly other countries are doing something better than what we're doing. Clearly. You see what I'm saying? So we can't ever say nobody else is doing stuff better than what we doing. You got whole countries who have, You know, in a year, they may have 2, maybe 3 people get unalived in a whole country. And y'all know, like I know, in America, shoot, one city can have 3, 4 in a weekend. So again, so clearly somebody is doing things better than what we are. So when you go to these other countries, and we see all the time, I know how many of y'all have seen videos of people in other countries doing stuff how they think, well, doing stuff that they would do in America, and then got in trouble. They done got yoked up because you in Dubai thinking you could do it like you in New Orleans. You in Japan, but you think you could do it like you in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? You in Egypt, but you think you could do it like you in Detroit. Now you locked up abroad, Brittany Griner. Because you thinking you can go to other people's country and do what you want to. See, that's the arrogance of Americans right there. That's the I'm going to do what I want to do. Can't nobody tell me what to do. That we take the other countries and get you yoked up. Because these other people not playing with you like they playing with you in America. Y'all think the police you think the police bad in America? Go to one of these other countries. Like go to Singapore and do some of the stuff that y'all do in Singapore. You're going to find out you're going to F around and find out real fast if you go to Singapore. You're going to find out real quick because they not playing no games with you in Singapore. Singapore still do this thing called caning. You know what caning is basically like an industrial size switch where they whoop your ass for certain crimes. And you get lashes, like some straight glory type stuff. Yes, they still do that in 2025. But you know what they don't have? They don't have these petty crimes. You go to Singapore, they streets look like somebody run a vacuum cleaner every night. Because ain't nobody just throwing McDonald's bags out the window in Singapore. Because if you do, that's your ass. Literally and figuratively.
In March, news a Singapore court had sentenced an 18-year-old American to 6 strokes with a bamboo cane, and Michael Fay, who insists he was tortured into confessing that he spray-painted cars, was instantly caught in the middle of a raging debate.
Yes, says one, people should be responsible for their actions. Let the vandal take his beating, says another.
After President Clinton personally appealed for leniency, Singapore reduced the sentence from 6 lashes to 4. But that wasn't much consolation for Michael Fay.
I was bent over halfway. I mean, my back was bent, and he's whipping it as he's going on each step. And
you hear the whip?
And yes, I can. Mm-hmm. And on the third step, he strikes, and he cuts open your buttocks.
And there's a lot of pain.
There's a lot of pain.
They not playing them type of games over there. I was in China, and it was a dude. The police had stepped to this dude, and the police was talking to him, and he called. I guess he seemed like he was a little drunk, and so he started to get a little, started to buck a little bit with the police. A dude that was standing close by, was sitting close by, got up and went and yoked up the dude in front of the police to tell him like, yo, do what the police told you to do. See, that's how other countries get down. If the police is talking to somebody and you walk over and yoke them up, like you helping the police, it's finna go bad. You finna have a bad day. You about to have a bad day because that person, they want to fight you. They want to unalive you. This because we don't operate in a system in America that gives room for accountability. That's not the American way. The American way is to pass the buck, to put it on somebody else. That's the American way. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never my fault. And if it is my fault, I got a reason why I did it, and the reason why I did it should justify why I did it. That's the American way. Accountability is damn near non-existent in America. That's the American way. Find a reason and a rationale to make it be somebody else's fault, and it ain't never their fault. We got a story right now. Little young boy broke into somebody's house, and the dude he got to his tool and he put in that work. And so little boy, he's unalived. And because he's unalived, his family is out saying that he didn't have to do that to him. He literally was in this man's house. And you think he did? Come on. And the crazy thing about it is another story is 3 young men was unalived because they was trying to kick in a man's door, and they pow, and he returned pow, and unalive all 3 of them. Now the family of those 3 are suing him because of that. That's what America is. The asinine, this the foolishness of America. You try to kick my door in. You pow at me, and I return said energy, and I'm better with that thing than you are. So now you unalive. Now somehow you feel like I'm in the wrong. That's America, though. So again, when we talk about the system, that's what I'm talking about. We don't care about the system. The system is a lie. Let me tell you what the American system is. Let me tell you what the not the cornerstone, but the bedrock of the American system is. It is a bunch of rich white dudes have convinced an entire country that it is okay for them to hoard all of this wealth, and you don't deserve anything but the bare minimum. And we have half of the country in America have bought into that. They have bought into that. Listen, I'm 100% for making money. I think you should be able to make money and get paper. You should be able to be ultra rich. But there's nothing you or anybody ever going to say to me to convince me that there's a need for you to have $200 billion. There's nothing you can say to me to make me believe that. There's no reason for you to have $200 billion. No reason whatsoever. You can't spend it all in a lifetime. It's just no reason for it. So, and no one, and this is how jacked up the system is in America, no one ever asked the question, how does someone amass $200 million? I mean, $200 billion. No, nobody asked that question. See, that's because we sleep at the wheel in America. That's the system that when I say we don't participate, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody ever asked that question, but I'm gonna tell you how.
People argue that you cannot tax billionaires on the shares that they hold in a company because it is an unrealized gain, right? So they go like, yeah, you're worth 300 billion, but we can't tax you on those stocks because you haven't sold the shares. So you don't like have the money. And I understand the argument. They go like, no, you don't have it. It's just what it's worth because it'll also crash. And then you have nothing, so we can't tax you on it. Then I'm like, okay, I understand that. So you can't tax the people on a thing because they don't have it. It's just there. Okay, fine. Then Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter. And then he says in his offer, putting up my Tesla stock as collateral. Then I'm like, so you do have it? Then he's like, no, I don't have it. I'm just gonna say as collateral. So then they accept the offer. He now buys Twitter. Now that they've accepted his offer, he now goes to private equity and banks and like other rich people and whatever. He goes like, can you guys borrow me the money to buy Twitter? He's like, I wanna buy Twitter because I don't wanna sell any of my Tesla shares. So I wanna use your money to buy Twitter. And then it's like, but then they're like, what are we loaning it against? And he's like, well, my Tesla shares. Then I'm going like, wait, so you can buy a thing based on what you have, yes. But when we want to tax you, you can say, I don't have it.
So what they did in China, instead of giving a CEO, a $50 million bonus at the end of the year because the company is profitable, they give him a $10 million bonus. And then they take the other $40 million and they invest it into the company and they pay the workers. That way, now you don't have people complaining about unfair wages. But that's not what we do in America. We keep the people not making nothing, or making bare minimum, and we keep giving these rich dudes these bonuses. And then we tell the people at the bottom working in the offices that ain't no money for them. The hell if it ain't. It's plenty of money for us. If you stop giving this ass $50 million a year, it's money to pay the people. And at a minimum, even if you ain't paying them, you can do stuff like daycare. You can get them better health care. All of these things you can do instead of giving this dude $50 million a year. Instead of Jeff Bezos being worth $300 billion, you could have split $100 billion of that and made sure all of the people who work for the company, kids, could go to college. But that ain't what y'all want to do. That's not what America, again, America, the bedrock of America is rich dude. We somehow have been psychologically programmed to think that it's okay for somebody to have $300 billion. And it's not. Because the only way you can amass $300 billion, you got to be taken from somebody. You gotta be taken from people. That's the only way you can do that. But that's our system. We're okay with that. We okay with rich dudes just doing what the F they want to. Meanwhile, you got to follow the rules. Make that make sense. You got a whole president who just doing what the hell he want to, ignoring courts, ignoring lawsuits, ignoring all of that stuff. It ain't necessarily just doing it because he's the president. He doing it because he a rich dude. And we in America, we have this system and this ideology that rich people don't have to follow the rules. That's the American system. That is the basis of American system. Yeah, we got other things in them. It's like a soup or something like that. So if you got, you can have vegetable soup, or you can have beef stew or something like that. So if you got beef stew, the beef is the main part of it. So that's what America is. America like beef stew. So the main part of it is that. Now don't get me wrong, there's other ingredients in there. We got a little racism in there. We got a little sexism in there. We got a little ageism in there. We got other little things sprinkled off in the recipe 100%, without a doubt. There's other things in the pot. But the biggest problem is we have convinced ourselves that rich, ultra rich, not just rich people, a dude who work in America, a dude who makes $40 million a year, in the grander scheme of things, when we talk about the top 2%, a dude who makes $50 million a year is not in the top 2%. He might be in the top 10%, but he's not in the top 2%. The top 2% controls most of the world's wealth. So the 50 million, unfortunately, does not get you in that club. That does not get you in the top 2 percentile club. So that's one of those things. That's why professional athletes aren't in that club. That's why people like Beyonce and Jay-Z, Jay-Z's worth $1 billion now, but he's in the club, but he in the entry level. He the doorman of the club. He ain't all the way in the club. If they start cutting fat, he one of the first people to go. You got to have like 10 billion, 5 or 6 billion before you start truly being part of that top 2 percentile. Now, being a billionaire puts you in the top 2 percentile, 100%. That's why I don't want to make it seem like Jay-Z not in that top 2 percentile, because he is. But he's on the doorstep. He barely squeezing in that right there. So I'm just saying, the crazy thing about it is we allow, like I said, we allow these rich people. Not only do we allow them to do that, we allow them to make the rules and profit the most from this system. How crazy is that? We allow rich dudes who are already rich to make the rules to make themselves richer and keep you poor. We allow that. That is the craziest thing. If 2%, if they the top 2 percentile, it's nowhere near enough of them to keep you from checking them. It's nowhere near enough. But what they do is they keep you fighting, they keep you divided, everybody angry. So you keep racism, you gotta keep racism in the pot, because as long as racism is on the stove, everybody gonna be hot forever. You keep them undereducated, as if they undereducated, now they don't know enough to think logically or critically to question you. And then you don't give them money, so now they live in check to check. Now you get a survival of the fittest type mentality jumping off. So with the racism, the survival of the fittest, and undereducated, it's a recipe for failure all day long. It's a recipe for failure. You too busy, when you dealing with all them three things, you too busy to worry about what this rich dude is doing. And that's exactly what they want you to do. That's exactly what they want you to do. Be worried about everything else except for this extra $40 billion that they made last year. That's what they want. So when you ask yourself, what is the system in America? It's a lie. It's a rich man's lie to keep poor people in check. That's what the American system is. Point blank, period. That's what the American system is. It's a rich man's lie to keep poor people in check, to keep them where they at and keep you where you at. And the problem in the whole equation is poor people could bring the whole system tumbling down. But you too busy chasing the banana in the tailpipe to even come together and do something about it. That's the crazy part about it. But again, that's what the podcast is. Humans are trash. And we just want us to do better as a society. As a species, I want us to do better. In America, I don't even know if it's no help for us. But share the episode with friends. Let them know, new episode every week. And different stuff. Again, the name of the podcast is Humans Are Trash. The place where hypocrisy goes to die. That's what we do. I call out the hypocrisy of all of it, because we are culpable in it. Everybody, black people, white people, young people, old people, everybody's a participant in it. And not just the system. And then it's a whole bunch of different topics we talk about that we hypocritical in. We say one thing, but we do another. And that's just humans. It is what it is. Until then, I'll let y'all later.
Shout out my haters, I know that you're watching, plotting and